Steam locomotives in miniature at the Steam Workshop, and this one is completing the LNER V1 locomotive rebuild, and it starts with fitting the water valve. The original injector water valve on this engine was broken and beyond economical repair, so I went up to Blackgates Engineering and bought a new one. These are British-made water valves and work very well. The type of water valve that I'm using is a 90-degree on-off valve, but it's a different shape to the previous one, so I need to modify the piping. This entails removing the injector, removing the pipe, changing the shape of the pipe by annealing it, that means heating it up until it's bright red, letting it cool, and then bending it to the correct profile. And the next job is to fit the valve to the footplate. There's a bit of a problem though, the hole in the footplate is too big for the valve, so I need to make a simple adapter in the form of a stepped washer. In this clip you can see that the water valve is a rattle fit in the hole. These water valves come with the handle not attached. In case you're wondering why the handle is not attached to the valve, well, it's quite simple. Sometimes you need to shorten the handle, and sometimes the handle needs to go through a support at the top, like on a tender. In exactly the same way as I showed in the episode where I fitted the water valves to my 14XX locomotive by drilling a hole through the valve and the handle, threading the hole 8BA, the handle can be easily fixed to the valve. In this application, the handle needs to be removed and then fitted once the floor is in place. This is a stepped washer adapter that I made. This fits in place first, followed by the valve, followed by the 5/16 by 32 threads per inch brass nut that holds the valve firmly in place to the running board. This clip shows me using my excellent Barco adjustable spanner and a normal spanner to lock the nuts in place. This is how the handle fits into the water valve. It's just a push fit and the 8BA bolt holds it in place. The injector water pipe was very simple to bend once it had been annealed, and here I'm connecting the injector's water pipe to the water valve. This was the original water valve. I'm holding it upside down by the way. I'm just going to shorten this and reuse the piece of pipe. I had to estimate where to cut off the piece of pipe because the pipe needed bending to clear the wheel. This was very easy to do because the part of the pipe that I needed to bend became very soft once it was annealed in the silver soldering process. Time for a test fit of the bunker tank to make sure everything goes together, and the bad news is the bunker tank is really tight. This is mainly due to a modification underneath the tank, where a couple of pipes have been fitted to allow water to be taken from a tank on a riding truck, because any water tanks that are directly fitted onto the engine next to the boiler are going to get warm, and if the water's warm, the injector won't work. It's time now to fit the boiler bands. This is a very fiddly process, and it's very important to make sure that none of the bands are sharp, because I don't want to mark the paint, and by mark I mean scratch. The marks that you can see on the boiler wrapper are just my greasy handprints. It was a two-man job to fit these boiler bands to the boiler. Simon did the hard part. He held the wrapper firmly together while I attached the bands. Outside in the yard, John and Dave are testing a traction engine. This is a 1.5-inch scale Royal Chester traction engine. It's just had a boiler hydraulic test, and now this is the steam test to see whether it works okay. I won't speak over this bit, I'll just leave the video running so you can hear the sound of the engine. That's enough sunlight for one day. It's back into the workshop to finish the job. As you can see in this clip, all of the boiler bands are now fitted. I'll have a quick look and see how the blower pipe fits in place. On the majority of miniature steam locomotives, the blower pipe is a hollow stay that runs the full length of the boiler to take steam from the turret to the blower that sits around the blast pipe. As you can see on this V1 locomotive, the blower pipe runs externally down the side of the boiler. It's time to fit the side tanks. I'm making this look really simple, but believe me, it wasn't. Nothing fitted, Everything's really tight, but generally the engine's quite well made. For instance, these two Allen bolts that hold the tank in place bolt into some substantial crossbars underneath the tank and not through into the water tank itself. To balance the water level in the tank, the side tanks were originally connected to the bunker tank using rubber tubing, but this rubber tubing was at the end of its life, so I replaced it with neoprene tubing. During the assembly of this engine, this part, the central floor, was refitted and removed 4 times. I completely forgot about the hand pump which is attached to one of the tanks, then I forgot about the whistle. But eventually I got there in the end. Simon pointed out that the rear part of the boiler was sloping a bit. I could see this as well, and I was a bit puzzled, but as I didn't dismantle this engine in the first place, I was unsure of what the arrangement was. But upon closer inspection, I noticed 2 slots, one each side of the frames. And when the boiler was lifted up a little bit, 2 holes corresponded with these 2 slots in the side of the frames. And in the box of bits, which is now looking depleted, I found 2 Allen cap-head 2BA bolts. And these are what were used to hold the boiler at the correct level. These 2BA bolts screwed into the boiler itself to hold the boiler in position, and I thought, well, that's not a very good idea. Over time, they really are going to rust badly and there'll be a problem. So instead, I used some stainless steel M5 bolts which I cut to length, then I rethreaded the holes in the sides of the boiler to accept these bolts. In this clip, you can guess what I'm doing. I'm just touching up the paintwork underneath the engine. I'm repainting the copper pipework that fits to the injector and the water valve. I don't usually paint copper piping, but the rest of the piping on this engine is already painted black, so I thought I would treat this to a new coat of paint, and I'm being very careful not to miss any bits. The engine's more or less finished. I have to fit the handrails at the front. I also need to modify the damaged water inlet piping under the bunker tank, which is not a massive problem. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Billy, who works at the steam workshop and he was on the bench next to me, for helping me to fit the cab. It was definitely a 2-man job and very difficult to do. The front part of the cab and the bunker tank had to be really pushed together very tightly just to accept the bolts. The reassembly of this engine has been a pain all along. A lot of the video I just daren't show. Most of the shots were unusable, usually shots of my back or my elbow or other things like that. And the last job of the day, which was fitting the cab roof, was very simple. So it made a mockery of Sod's Law or Murphy's Law or whatever you call it. Usually the final part that you put in position is a fail. On this engine, the fails were everything leading up to that. So that's it for this episode. The men in white coats are at the door. I'm going back to the asylum, where life is wonderful all the time. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful.